The program, the opening part of the evening is being live streamed over YouTube. And we're accepting questions, or we have been accepting questions via email. And then we hope there will be many questions tonight from the audience written on note cards, which are available at the back of the room. If you want to write a question for submitting when the wards break out into different rooms for questions and answers. The program will start with the candidates' opening statements in here. After that, the three of the wards and their audiences will go to breakout rooms. They will take with them their name tags, their glasses of water, their timekeeper, their moderator, and their question collector, and their audience. And if you're not sure which ward you will be voting in, there are maps with the new city boundaries around the room, on the walls outside in the hallway, and on the tables in here and outside. The boundaries were redrawn in January of this year, following the population changes during the census. Okay, Ward 5 will remain in this room. Ward 1 will go to the teen lounge, which is on the second floor. Ward 2 will go to the conference room, which is, there are signposts outside for where all the rooms are. And Ward 3 will go to default. Now, default is a noisy room, and we have a sound system in there. And I'm asking the moderator and the candidates to remember that they have to be pop stars and hold the microphone up to their faces, and don't hold your microphone and turn your head like I'm doing. In here, we will continue to be using this system here, and the candidates will be on the stage. And now I'd like to introduce the candidates. I hope I'm going to do this accurately in the order in which they're going to make their opening statements. And here, we're starting here with Ward 3, Nathan Sitaraman, sorry, and David Shapiro. Then Ward 5, Michelle Song, Clyde Lederman. And I'm going to ask for no audience applause, but equally no heckling. We're going to be respectful of each other, even if we really like what they say. Thank you for being a perfect example. Margaret, I can't do any of these pronunciations. Margaret Fabrizio, Jason Houghton, Aryeal Jackson is Ward 2, and Kris Haines-Sharp is Ward 2, and Wes Fox is Ward 2, and then bringing up the end, Ward 1, Cynthia Brock, and Kayla Matos. So thank you all very much. Now, I have all asked them in the interests of time to skip thanking everybody in their opening statements. They only have 3 minutes. And so I want them to get right down to the meat of their positions and what they're going to be doing. And I'm also going to ask Nathan to come up when I move out of the way. And then when he's finished, David, Michelle, and so on. I won't announce any one of them. And we have one microphone, and we all come up from our seats. Okay. And Pam Goddard in front is our timekeeper, and she'll be waving signs at you after 1 minute, when there's 1 minute left, when there's 30 seconds left, when there's 10 seconds left, and then stop. And I'll get cross with you if you go on board. Okay, So now opening statements, starting with Nathan.
When I decided to study physics, and when I came to Cornell for grad school back in 2015, I did it because I believe that science makes our world a better place. And I have a speech prepped for another occasion where I would talk about how my research can help us build better roads and help with wastewater treatment, help advance medical research. But at some point it became clear to me, maybe as I was struggling with the rising cost of living here, that scientific research by itself isn't going to change the world. It's going to take action. So while I've continued my research at Cornell, I've also fought for workers' rights with Cornell Graduate Students United. Back in 2020, when Cornell threatened to freeze salaries and many grad students faced a summer without income, we organized over 1,000 grad students to pressure Cornell to do the right thing, to give us our raises, and to create an emergency source of summer funding. We did this successfully. Since then, I volunteered at Southside providing childcare for working parents while schools were on Zoom. I now serve as treasurer for the Tompkins County Workers Center, a community nonprofit that seeks to help people who have problems at work and that advocates for a living wage. We now have something like 130 businesses as certified living wage employers. While there have been some small victories, there have also been worrying signs in the last several years. We've seen the housing crisis get worse, the problem of homelessness get worse. We've seen rising threats to reproductive health care, to the safety of immigrants, to the safety of people of color, and LGBTQ people. And if you've seen the water on the flood maps, and if you smelled the smoke in the air, you know that climate change is getting worse too. Sometimes these problems feel too big to solve, but we're capable of great things. There's a saying passed down through generations in the labor movement: don't mourn, organize. Cornell University, that enormous institution worth so many billions of dollars, that was built by Ithacans, regular Ithacans just like you and me. And together, we can take that institution and make it work for our families, for our future, for our planet. We have to decide now to put people over profits. So that's why I'm running for council. That's why I've rallied with tenants, with auto workers. I've marched with Starbucks workers, with women fighting for reproductive health care, with Black people fighting to end police brutality. And that's why I'm proud to be part of the Solidarity Slate, because it's time to stand up for what's right, because we're stronger when we stand together. Thank you.
Hi, my name is David Shapiro and I'm running to represent Ward 3. My wife and I moved here 13 years ago from Brooklyn, New York. At the time, we were raising our 2 sons. They were 3 and 1, and we were struggling to afford for them the life that we thought that they deserved. But we were lucky. We found jobs here. We were able to buy a house here, and we haven't turned back. 13 years later, now with 3 boys, now with a dog, now with income that isn't really that much different from 13 years ago, but with a whole lot more expenses. This life, I'm afraid, is becoming unaffordable for people to come here. And I think, had I been trying to move here today, we wouldn't be able to. For the last 13 years, my wife and I have considered living here to be a blessing that we've given to our kids. But that blessing is starting to feel like a privilege. And it's part of why I'm running today. I'm also running because I think I could help. I've spent the last 20 years committed to public service, committed to working in human services. I've worked with children that were in foster care. I've worked with families and children that were terminally ill, with disabled adults, with urban homelessness. I've worked in rural homeless settings. I've worked with people that have mental health and behavioral health challenges, people with substance abuse issues, and people that identify in all different types of marginalized groups. And I say all this because one of the things that I've learned throughout all of this is perspective. It's one of the things that I hope that I could bring here. I've been around a lot of people and learned a lot about the different challenges that people face in the world today. And I've listened a whole lot, and I think I can share that perspective. Another reason why I'm running and why I think I could help is because a lot of the financial and operational and strategic challenges that the city are facing today, these are a lot of the same challenges I've been hired to fix throughout my career. I've worked several places locally where I've been hired to fix financial problems, hired to fix strategic, hired to invest in strategic plans, hired to fix operational issues, all with the thought in mind that I can make a positive change in the life of the people that live around me, the life of the people that work in the programs that I work in, if I can continue to work and devote myself to my community. I'm here today running for office again. This isn't my first time, and I hope it'll be the time that it comes to fruition. But I'm committed to public service. I'm committed to all of you, and I'm committed to represent everybody in my community. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Michelle Song. I'm running to represent the four-year term for Ward 5. I'm running for council because I believe in the power of direct action and the urgent need to prioritize the well-being of our constituents. As a queer daughter of immigrants and a proud product of public schools, I have seen firsthand the challenges faced by marginalized communities and working class people. As increasing numbers of people are attracted to Ithaca, giving our progressive legacy as an abortion sanctuary city, asylum for refugees, and leader in higher education, it's time for a change that puts people and planet over profit. Tenants should not have to fear eviction, and nor should homeowners have to fear displacement due to rising insurance and tax costs. We deserve to feel safe in public, protected as workers, and confident in our public transportation system. I aim to find the common ground between the interests of Ithaca's students and long-term residents, with an emphasis on prosperity and long-term social change. Ithaca is a diverse city, but we are joined by our love for the place we call home. I'm dedicated to building bridges, not walls, and fostering unity among our residents. Together, we can create a brighter tomorrow for Ithaca. I'm proud to have received the recognition and endorsements from the New York Working Families Party, Eleanor's Legacy, and the Cornell Democrats, who share my vision for creating an Ithaca where we all thrive. I'm devoted to prioritizing the issues that matter most to our community, protecting the rights of tenants by passing good cause eviction laws, making housing more affordable and preventing the displacement of residents through innovative approaches like workable zoning reform for accessory dwelling units and removing the burdens of minimum parking minimums. I'm committed to lowering costs for homeowners by focusing on flood and climate change mitigation efforts and increasing funding for vital public infrastructure such as TCAT and reimagining public safety. Further, I'm committed to exploring green public infrastructure to transition Ithaca into carbon neutrality. The next cohort of Common Council will be in charge of renegotiating Cornell's shameful financial contribution to the City of Ithaca. The urgency of this matter cannot be understated. Simply asking will no longer be enough. I envision an organization between both the students and the residents of Ithaca. The call needs to come from the inside. What our council needs now is a courageous voice committed to direct action, who will not back down to standing up for what's right. During COVID-19, I founded 2 nonprofit organizations, one of which united nationally to organize 250 volunteers to donate over 50,000 masks to our most at-risk communities. I worked on the ground, interacting and ensuring that everyone could thrive in their community. It's time to put people and planet before profit by building bridges, not walls. Thank you.
Hello, folks. Thanks for having me here. For those who I haven't met, I'm Clyde Lederman, and I'm really glad to be able to engage seriously in the issues here tonight. I'm currently a labor relations student at Cornell who came here because I'm the proud son of a fourth-generation union member and came to our premier school to study labor relations. But as a student here and a resident, the issue that I hear more than anything else is an issue of affordability. Affordability cuts across all ages and it cuts across all demographic groups. Homeowners and tenants alike continue to feel the pinch from rising housing costs, taxes, and for many Ithacans next year, new expensive flood insurance requirements. These compounding costs mean that we're moving in the wrong direction. That people who previously were able to move here, previously who were able to call Ithaca a home, can no longer. And as a young person, I think about this a lot. Where will someone like me be able to raise a family? Where will someone like me be able to buy a home? And I think the only way that we can do this, the only way that we can seriously tackle this issue is if we comprehensively plan. If we take a serious look at the issues, not just yelling, not just saying that we have a magic bullet like Cornell to pay for all of our problems, but rather that we build the right infrastructure to protect us from climate change and make critical investments in our city's future. That we work with Cornell to reach an agreement where there's a fair financial balance and where everyone's interests are taken care of. And I think above all else, making sure that we have a comprehensive plan to deal with our housing needs. There are more people, if it is an attractive place to live, but if we're not planning and let the free market rip through our city, we will lead with more people, whether you're an older person on a fixed income or a young person looking to buy a house who will be unable to afford to live here. And I say this because one of the most illuminating aspects and wonderful aspects as a first-time candidate running for office is hearing all the different concerns of residents, many of which I would be totally unaware of. I think of them, just to give you a couple examples here, transportation for older folks for whom a bus network is not feasible, or native Ithacans who are young who want to live here, but landlords who won't rent to them because they'll only rent to students. And I think this is part of the nuance of government, and that's what we need to keep in mind. I'm proud to have worked on many similar issues across the state, from advocating for children in religious schools to receive a secular education, to working on municipal government consolidation to make sure that we increase efficiency and decrease costs. And I say this all because if we're going to make Ithaca affordable, if we're going to make it a real home for the next generation of people and make sure the folks here now, we're going to need to be serious and plan for our future. Thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Margaret Fabrizio, and I'm running for the 5th Ward's 4-year seat. My husband, Andy Jordan, and I have lived in Ithaca over 40 years, and I've been involved in many local efforts throughout this time, from a long battle to secure state legislation to protect Ithaca Falls from development, to rekindling and co-chairing the Fall Creek Neighborhood Association, to working with the EPA and DC toxics cleanup at the Ithaca gun site. I founded the Fall Creek Garden Tour and See You Downtown, a performing arts festival showcasing student performers. And I've recently started a grassroots effort, the Fair Share campaign, to help the city secure a new financial agreement with Cornell. I've always been interested in the workings of city government, and I imagined I would serve on Common Council at some point. I recently retired from a 33-year career at Cornell in student services. And given the problems the city is facing, I decided this is my time to join council. I believe my long-term commitment to Ithaca is an important perspective to bring to the table, and that this is in sharp contrast to my opponent, who's been a student here for 2 years. Ithaca's fiscal health is my top priority. We have been cash-strapped for years, and with our booming real estate market and ever-growing assessments, have become an unaffordable community for property owners and renters alike. Despite exorbitant property taxes, 5, 6, 7 times the national average, our critical services like fire, police, building inspections, road and sidewalk maintenance, and clean water remain dangerously understaffed and employees undercompensated. Though this has been the case for years now, we're at a breaking point with local property tax bills totaling $10,000 to $20,000+. For us to be a visionary, affordable, and equitable place, we need to be properly resourced, and that can't happen by just continuing to increase the tax burden on city property owners and in turn on renters. We cannot make up the gap that is created by 60% of our city property being tax exempt. Cornell owns 80% of that, and they must pay their fair share. That's not the only solution. We also need to reprioritize the resources we do have, and I'd like to see us share more with neighboring municipalities. As the county seat, we must also advocate for financial assistance for the countywide amenities we provide, like parks, youth services, and roads. I'm ready to rethink how we're operating and do the work to forge the new partnerships we must create to ensure a healthy and visionary Ithaca. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jason Houghton. I'm running for the 2-year seat in the 5th Ward. I am a 17-year resident of Ithaca, and I've lived in the 5th Ward for 6 years. I'm running because Ithaca is my home. Ithaca has been a very welcoming community to me and my partner, not something I can say about every community I've lived in. And I hope to make Ithaca my home for the rest of my life. I'm running for council because I think Ithaca is currently facing some very critical challenges and some very exciting changes. Our primary critical challenge, as we all know, is affordability. As I said, I've lived here for 17 years. I'm concerned about my ability to live in Ithaca when I retire. We have to really address our affordability issue head on. We need to expand our housing stock. We need to promote auxiliary dwelling units. We need to work with municipalities in the surrounding area to develop strategies that achieve those things. Ithaca is not isolated. Our housing market is the entire area. We need to have strategies that address that and work with neighboring communities. I also think a priority we need to address are our underfunded city departments. We can't have good city services when we have underpaid employees. And this is where I think our negotiations with Cornell could help us. Cornell benefits directly and indirectly from our city services. And as we all know, we don't feel they're contributing their fair share. I think it's important that Cornell recognize that they are a member of the community and have an opportunity this next year with the expiration of the MOU to be a more equitable partner. Another issue I think that is important that we need to address is implementing reimagining public safety. I support reimagining public safety. I think it gave voice to members of the community who felt they may have been ignored. It's important that we also support our police. I really would like to see a fully staffed police department with members of public safety on the commons again and patrolling our streets on bicycles. I miss that. I'd like to see that happen again. This is the first time I've sought public office. I've always strived to be an informed citizen. I recently submitted an article to the Ithaca Voice about government transparency in its negotiation with Cornell. I hope you would all read it. I submitted that article not only because I think it's a very important issue about which we should all be informed, but I wanted to show that I'm willing to do the work and I value transparency, citizen engagement, and interaction with city government. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Aryeal Jackson and I'm running for Ward 2. Many of you know me from my years within the work of our community. My name on a byline, my service as a city commission chair, my writing for campaigns, my work as a small business owner or a mom of 2 young kiddos. I love this crazy city. And I'm here because I want to share my skills as we transition into a new model of city government and recover from the pandemic. I've knocked on hundreds of doors during my campaign, and I always ask, how can I help? That's why I'm running, because I feel like I can help. You've known me to be fair and factual, open and forthright. Voters need information and fastidious representation. And in this moment in particular, our city needs elected officials who know how the city should and could work for the good of everybody. I'm not going to sell you on trendy talking points that never seem to include plans for action, but these are my goals. It's very clear that we need stability within City Hall, staffing, morale, communication between staff and elected officials. We need action plans and implementation, solid benchmarks for initiatives like the Green New Deal and reimagining public safety with financial information. We need to achieve financial stability within the city and in our neighborhoods, creative funding sources, and reinforcement of the dynamic support network that we have for all of our residents. We all hear that the cost of living is too high, and yet we have no qualms about supporting Ithaca's ideals. We want to make bold moves to the Green New Deal. We want to make sure that kids are fed and cared for, and that we maintain a beautiful walkable community with accessible housing and the richness that comes from neighbors and sidewalk chats. We need to prioritize our people, because when we do, we succeed. Surprisingly, I hear people ask about the lack of communication between staff, Common Council, and the mayor's office. There's a feeling of disconnected and unclear messaging. People ask why Common Council is unaware of what staff is experiencing. As we transition to a new model of government, we have to solve this divide. As we go forward, we must remember that we are coming out of a global pandemic. Financially, it was a sucker punch, and we're still trying to recover. But more importantly, none of us are really okay. We lost loved ones and friends. We lost a sense of stability and security. I am the mother of 2 elementary-aged children. I'm a small business owner who understands how difficult it has been for so many of us to recover from the economic impacts of the pandemic. We can't move forward without hindsight or a plan to recover. But we must do it with an informed community and a capable Common Council. It's imperative that we elect people who can handle the work on day one. So I say to my future constituents, put me to work. How can I help?
My name is Kris Haines-Sharp, and I'm pleased to join you here this evening. The city and the second ward are facing a plethora of challenges, from a need for affordable housing, escalating rental costs, new floodplain maps, and tax burdens that are unsustainable, to the search for climate justice initiatives and implementations, safe and vibrant neighborhoods, a thriving workforce, streets that don't eat up our cars and cause biking accidents, sidewalks that are accessible to all. I am running to serve this city, its residents, and its workers. I am running because I want this city to be a place where youth can envision a future with rewarding jobs and housing that meets their needs. I am running because I believe in community, the power of working together. I bring the vision that we can channel our diverse perspectives and experiences into a force for meaningful change. Prior to coming onto council, I was an English teacher and school building administrator. I have a master's in teaching and advanced certifications in building leadership and school district leadership, as well as mindfulness in education. I have committed my life to serving those with the least means, those with the highest of needs. I came to teaching after a decade of wide-ranging work, from Planned Parenthood to restaurant baking. I currently serve on Common Council and sit on the City Administration Committee. I am liaison to GIAC, the Ithaca Landmarks Preservation Council, and the Sustainability and Climate Justice Commission. I am a voting member of the Community Housing Development Fund Program Oversight Committee, supporting affordable housing projects in the city. In doing this work, I am learning something new each day about the needs of our city and how best I, as one person of Common Council, can take action that moves us towards becoming a community that works for all. Finally, let's remember that this forum is not really about us as individuals, but it's about the people we seek to represent. Hardworking people struggling to keep up with rising costs and increased tax burdens, marginalized communities yearning for justice, and the future generations of Ithacans who are relying on us to leave a city and planet that is sustainable and thriving.
Hi, all. My name is West Fox. I'm a candidate for the 2-year term for Ward 2. I work as a program educator at Boynton Middle School and an IHS, and staff a youth transitional housing program for the nonprofit Village of Ithaca. I'm an artist and an arts organizer and sit on the nonprofit Ithaca Underground Board as chair of the Development Committee. I'm also a community organizer, civic activist, and independent DEIA and development consultant for a number of organizations in Ithaca. For the sake of time, I invite you all to find and talk to me about the litany of ways that I'm involved in the community. I sat on my first nonprofit board in 2011 at the age of 17, tasked with representing 250 people and voting on large budget items. I've continued my work in and for nonprofit organizations throughout the years in various roles. I also have experience managing complex public and administrative projects, both nationally and at the state level, such as my work with the organization Justice Together in 2015, where I recruited, trained, and managed dozens of college student volunteers in researching the organizational structures of police departments in the state of New Jersey. My academic career focused on studying government systems, as well as the political philosophy in which those governments are built. And last but not least, I have invaluable lived experience, including being unhoused both in my youth and in my early adulthood, which will be instrumental in reframing conversations and actions taken by Common Council. I have a track record of getting the things that I espouse done. My experience isn't limited to sitting on committees. I've seen through the implementation of projects like the successful 2014 campaign to institute a civilian oversight board at the Los Angeles Men's County Jail. I have a record of seeing a need, visioning a solution, planning and preparing action, mitigating dissenting opinions, and implementing a plan. For example, when I matriculated at my alma mater, I was one of 7 entering Black students. After my first year, I went to the admissions office and proposed a diversity initiative that would seek out high-achieving Black and Latino students from major cities and fly them out to our Southern California campus. They shot it down. In response, I combed through financials, devised a proposal, and presented it to the administration. The program was a huge success and still exists to this day. And as of 2016, when I graduated, the number of matriculated Black and Latino students increased by 40%. But my candidacy is not just about me. And if it was contingent on my ability to do it alone, I probably wouldn't have run. A major deciding factor in my running was the coalition of community leaders coming together to support one another and unifying the people of Ithaca to fight the hegemonic, corporate, and wealthy elite interests in the city. It's not a secret that time and again, well-meaning progressives enter into politics only to be showered. I just would like to say again that we're running because we imagine Ithaca for many, not the few. Thank you.
My name is Cynthia Brock, and I am running for re-election for First Ward 4-year term. As a member of council, I take time to research the issues, to ask critical questions, to expect and demand accountability in government, to work with colleagues from all fields, and to foster transparent and diligent stewardship of city funds and operations. The city will be facing sweeping changes in the next few years. We will be transitioning to a city manager form of government, bringing expertise and experience to the chief executive of the city. This is a good thing. We will have a new mayor and council. This role must anchor the actions of the city manager in transition transparency, and accountability to the community. Our city is growing. We have increased density in our downtown core, but the development of affordable and market rate housing is not enough to meet the demand, requiring new solutions. Much of the downtown market rate and luxury development is tax abated, depriving the city of revenue needed to fund city services. This unfairly transfers the cost to others and adds to the unaffordability of our city. We have aging infrastructure, staffing shortages, and several department heads that will be retiring soon. Staffing shortages result in staff doing the work of two and place our departments in a reactive rather than proactive mode. With a backlog of work, we are unable to plan for the future in the way that our community expects. Investment in our staff will enable us to retain the talent we need to implement the vision we desire for our community. The new FEMA flood maps will have a disproportionate impact on the first ward, raising the cost of living for downtown residents and impacting our city as a whole. Climate change, unsheltered homelessness, and housing shortages have made it clear now more than ever that this new administration must work together with area municipalities and organizations to address our growing needs. The strong connections and relationships that I have with leaders from across the region will help bring us together to develop innovative strategies and address our shared goals. We need lasting solutions that cannot be solved within Ithaca's 10 square miles. People deserve to be and feel safe, to live in healthy and accommodating homes and environments, to drink clean water and enjoy the natural and recreational resources around them. Our residents, our youth, and our seniors must be supported with quality licensed services. Our city's zoning, building, and infrastructure should guide us and prepare us for the needs of our future generation. I'm running to implement these goals. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kayla Matos, and I am running for Ward 1 4-year term. I'm an born and raised Ithacan, a big sister, a foster mom, a board member and treasurer of a nonprofit Ujista. I am a Southside Community Center goer forever and now serve as the center's deputy director. Having grown up in this community, going to Southside, I've seen how people in Ithaca organize to show up for one another, and that is why I'm proud to call Ithaca my home. At the same time, my family has faced many of Ithaca's not so gorgeous realities that too many families face. I know what it's like to have family members struggle with addiction and barriers to mental health. I know what it's like to watch my siblings struggle to navigate city spaces because of her disability. I also know what it's like to lose a home because our landlord wanted my single mother out. My life experience and role as deputy director of the Southside Community Center has prepared me to be an alderperson. Whether it's managing a budget or hearing firsthand what community members are experiencing every day, my campaign is a part of Ithaca's Solidarity Slate, a grassroots group of 5 progressive candidates working to put the diverse needs of our community before the profits of the few. I'm running for council to make sure our city takes care of everyone and keeps everyone safe, which means safety and care for our Black and Brown community, our LGBTQ+ community, disabled folks, our unhoused neighbors, and more. I'm running to make sure that Ithaca puts the Green New Deal in action so we're prepared for more intense flooding and that it's not low-income people and people of color paying the price. Together, as a solidarity slate, we are here to meet people's most urgent needs, and I'm excited to get into all the details here tonight. We are here to help raise up the city that raised me. I know what it's like when the odds are stacked against you. Together, let's restack the odds for the city systems that support the ways we take care of each other, because this is what we deserve. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you all. We're now going to go to the different breakout rooms so that you can ask questions. If we tried to ask questions of 11 people, we'd be here all week. So Ward 1, that's Cynthia and Kayla, with a moderator, Mary Berkelman, over there. Timekeeper, Carolyn Headlam is over there, and questions, Susan Suarez over there. You're upstairs in the teen lounge, and make sure you